Hi everybody, day 42, Saturday, 20th of June, regarding my first trip to Israel. This was the last big thing that happened in the 80s, I think, towards me becoming pastor in 1990. So then once again, probably about 86, I think, something like that, and a friend from a nearby church was organising a trip, and their leader had a spirituality that I would value being close to. I wanted to learn from him, so I accepted the invitation. Asked Jan if that okay, and she said yeah. She took the children to Bispam while I was away in Israel. Had a lovely time at Bispam, and so we set off. Went to London and picked some other people up, some lovely people. Canon, I can't remember his other name, but he was a delightful man, along with other people as well, and a number of people from the local church. But I was disappointed really that I wasn't, the setup didn't lend itself to me spending much personal time with that leader. So I had that disappointment from quite early on. But we set off, and the trip would be go to the area of Galilee first, and then the second area would go 5 days in Galilee, 5 days in Jerusalem. So we arrived in Galilee, hotel just up the road from the main road, near the beach road, as you might call it, and in Tiberias, I think the town was called. And we settled in there, and that was okay. Service and things like that in the evenings and fellowshipping. But I got there, and the immediate thing that I wanted to do was to go and swim in the thing, So after we'd had our evening meal that first night, I was anxious to go, and nobody else wanted to go. So I got my towel and I went off on my own. And the thing was blocked off by hotels and such like. But I walked to the end of the area where the hotels were, and there was a really rocky, big bouldery things getting in, no beach, just these big bouldery things like. So I clambered over all them and took my top off, and then went in, and it was warm. It's really nice and warm. So you weren't worried that you were going to get cold and drown kind of thing, because it was nice and warm, and it was a lovely thing to do that evening, I felt. And that, for whatever Jesus did, this lake thing here was definitely, with these roads, with these houses. I don't know whether Jesus saw any of them, but this lake, he saw this lake. He sailed on this lake. So I was getting as near to Jesus as I could. Dunked myself a couple of times as well. And came back and then joined in the other stuff. Just two little stories from there. We went to, as I say, I'm wanting to develop my spirituality and grow as a Christian. And we visited Cana, where the water was turned into wine. And we were all standing around this little spring. This is the water where the water came from that was turned into wine. We're all standing around this little spring. And I'm praying, Lord, make me a new man. Lord, make me a new man. Prayed that a couple of times. And then the Lord spoke back. Yeah. He said, that's too big a job in 10 days. But I'll make you a new husband. That's too big a job in 10 days. But I'll make you a new husband. And that wasn't a bad thing for him to say, because, my brittleness, maybe, whatever you want to call it, abruptness, straightness, got me saying things that got people saying, yeah. And then that landed heavy on Janet. So that would be good if I could be a new husband, make me a new husband. So we bought a bottle of wine from there, and I brought that bottle of wine home. We kept it for about 6 months, and when we drank it, it was awful. I was really expecting it to be really nice, and it was awful. I don't know whether we didn't know if we could finish the bottle. And then the nicest thing that happened in the area of Galilee. It's a beautiful area. We went to the what was called the Mount of Olives, not the Mount of Olives, the Mount of Beatitudes. Which is where Jesus is supposed to preach the Sermon on the Mount. And then on there, there's a little church for people to go. So we'd booked the church to go and have a meeting in there. And so as we arrived there, we all, there's somebody else in while we, as we arrived. So we had to hang around in the garden, overlooking the lake. It was absolutely beautiful. The scenery was absolutely beautiful. But the thing that was the presence of God was just awesome. As we all knew as we hung around waiting that we weren't supposed to speak. We weren't supposed to speak. It was to keep quiet. This God is here, So that was awesome. And then the church thing became available, so we went in there and sat in a circle around it. Probably 25 of us, and having this little service, meditation kind of thing, which developed. And then just at one point it was quiet for everybody to be quiet, and a lady like across the circle from me began to cry, and she was part of the church party, so she began to cry, and no one went to comfort her or to see what was going on. So I've got this "I'll pray for anything" head on. And my heart went out to her. So I stood up and crossed the circle and just went and knelt by her side for a moment and just put my hand on her shoulder and prayed a little prayer. And I think she probably stopped crying, and then I went and sat back down again. And then we went on our way. And in all honesty, my heart went out to that lady. I kind of felt that like she was a bird in a cage, and she needed setting free. And I hope that something of that was happening. I'm going to finish regarding that story, but I did meet that lady up again probably about 3-4 years ago, and it was really lovely that both she and her husband separately came to me and said, I can't remember exactly what they said, but whatever it was what you prayed that day, it changed her life, and it was delightful to just be affirmed in that kind of way. Where it was so pleasant in Galilee, it was horrific in Jerusalem, and I'll tell you about that on Monday. Having said that, it couldn't have been too horrific. I saw angels. Okay, see you then.